Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I like to talk a lot about weakness only because I like to make people stronger. I like to help people to become stronger. Jordan Peterson said, "You don't have a right to be weak." And I truly believe that. It was such a brilliant statement. A weak person is detrimental to everyone around them. A weak person will bring down their family and bring down their group. A weak person is someone who follows vice in order to get through their day, uses vice as medication, uses vice as an escape. A weak person is somebody who lives in delusion, can't see through the world clearly, believes lies, believes falsehoods. A weak person lives in ego. A weak person feels that anger is strength. A weak person swims in the waters of hatred, drowns in them. A weak person has a hard time surviving. A weak person will go homeless. A weak person can't hold down a job. A weak person can't respect their elders. A weak person can't take care of their children. A weak person. It goes on and on and on. I could go for the next 20 minutes on what a weak person is. I think you get it. We all have weaknesses. There's very few people that are the ideal human. Maybe Jesus was a good example of the ideal human, but everybody has weaknesses in them. What I believe, and what many people out there in the philosophy world, psychology world, religious world, what they believe is that it's our duty, especially as men, the people who have to carry the burden, that it's our duty to find those weaknesses within us and to conquer them, each one. We all have lots of them. You can go make a list of your strengths and your weaknesses. I did this once as an exercise in a therapy session with a psychiatrist, and I had a hard time finding any strengths. I had like one or two things, and my list of weaknesses went on forever. It's our duty to go down that list, however long it is for you, and to try your best through whatever means you can to conquer those weaknesses and to make those weaknesses dissipate, to become stronger in those areas. You have a duty to do this for your own survival. Survival is hardwired into our genetics. But you also have a duty to become strong, especially men, for your families. A weak man can't lead his family. A weak man can't raise children. You'll raise monsters. I know, my father was weak. My father was murdered because of his weakness. Think about how many people that you know that have been taken away from you, whether it be through suicide. I've known 10 people that have committed suicide in the last 7 years. Every one of them would still be alive if they would only have been willing to go into those weaknesses and not to let them take over their life, but to try to strengthen them. If they could have become stronger, they'd still be alive. Think of how many people that you see on your drive to work or the store that are homeless out in those streets. I live in a small beach town. We got way too many homeless people for a small beach town. They'd all be gone. They'd all be in homes. Every one of them is there because of weakness. I know, I was homeless. I was weak. It took strength to get off the streets. A strong person doesn't go homeless. Think of how many people would be out of the welfare line. There might still be people in that building, but the line wouldn't be very long if we could just make people stronger. Think of how many children, myself included, that would have grown up with fathers if only those men, those adults, those fathers were strong. My father would still be alive today if only he were strong enough. Think of how many people that wouldn't be in rehab. We closed down all the rehabs, all the rehabilitation centers in the country if we could just make people stronger. Because a weak motherfucker lives in vice. I used to take that walk to the liquor store every single day because I needed it. It's the only way I'm going to make it till tomorrow. It's the only thing keeping a fucking gun out of my mouth. Think of how much we could reduce the prison population in this country, which is exploding, especially now, if we could make people stronger, especially men. Every prison is outrageously overcrowded, and almost, I would say, I hate to talk in everything or nothing terms, but almost every single one of them is there because of their weaknesses, whether it be through vice or because they thought that anger was strength. They had poor survival skills because of their weakness. They didn't see the value of work because of their weakness. It's that quote in The Bronx Tale that Robert De Niro said, and I know I'll butcher it. I love the quote, though. And he's talking to his son, who is getting mixed up with the mob, and Robert De Niro plays a bus driver, and he tells his son, his young son, who just doesn't understand, and he's fascinated with these gangsters, and he tells him, any man can pull a trigger. That's weakness. A strong man gets up and goes to work every day, and he gives his son a little lecture about what true strength is, and the kid just doesn't understand. He finally gets it at the end of the movie. It's a great movie. It's a true story, by the way. I like to make people stronger. I like to empower people. I like to help people become stronger. It's something that you have to do within. I don't have a magic wand like Harry Potter and say, there you go, now you're He-Man. It doesn't work that way. But I'm a true promoter of strength over weakness, and I think that each person out there has a duty to become stronger. That's why Jordan Peterson, his quote is so brilliant. You don't have a right to be weak. And people guard their weaknesses. If you can follow me, they try to make their weaknesses stronger. And what I mean by that is they're not trying to build themselves stronger. They're making their weakness stronger. They're building their weakness. Their weakness is taking them over. And then they use that weakness as a shield when anybody else tries to help them out, throw them a line, give them a hand up, and they say, this is who I am, accept me for who I am. Weak people are detrimental. They're bad for the tribe, for the community. I'm not talking about your 98-year-old grandmother, but I tell you, I've known some old people that are the strongest people you've ever met. My grandfather is one of them. He's 98 years old. He still walks around. He still drives. He killed people in World War II. That motherfucker is as stoic and strong and egoless, humble. He is an ideal version of what manhood is. So they exist. True strength is what we should be shooting for. True strength is the goal of life. It's what you're here for. We may all be born weak, little babies who can't even survive. We're one of the only creatures that needs to be coddled and fed, or else we die. Think about many of the other creatures that you've seen, lizards, fish, all kinds. Just start naming them. There's all kinds of creatures. Giraffes can walk within a few minutes of them being born. We have to be taken care of. So we're born weak. You don't have to inspire people to be angry, to be hateful, to be evil, to lash out, to be violent. That is natural. The weakness comes naturally to us. And it's our job, it's our goal, each one of us as individuals, to look down your little list of weaknesses that you're still hanging on to. The ones that you didn't conquer in grade school and high school, the weaknesses that you went into your young adulthood with, the ones that you have put cages around and worship like an idol, and you think that weakness is who you are. It's our duty to break down those walls and to go humbly into those scary, terrifying areas. And instead of letting that darkness take over, we become the light inside of us. How many people do you know that are in that fuck the world mode? I'm from the streets, and everybody has this fuck the world mode attitude. It's all weakness. We could get rid of gangs if there was stronger men out there. We could get rid of all organized crime if there were stronger men out there. We wouldn't even need cops. We could go back to Andy Griffith. You get these cops that are just, here and there. They're not even carrying guns. We could have an ideal society if we only build people up stronger. If we each were to go inside of us, every single person out there, to go inside and to look at your weaknesses and to conquer each one. It may take a lifetime. What else do you have to do? It's just all food for thought. Thanks for watching.